Having blind faith is like a superpower. And I feel like many times people are looked down on or seen as naive if they choose to have blind faith in something that shows no external validation yet that this thing is going to work out for them. But being realistic actually holds you back so much. Being realistic really makes you play very, very small in life. And those who have blind faith end up getting way more of what they want out of life. The matrix will actually blend to make a path for you with whatever you have blind faith about. The solution will appear literally out of thin air sometimes. And if there are an infinite number of possibilities, if you can create any reality of what it is that you want, why not have blind faith in every single one of your deepest, truest, juiciest desires? But it's also something that a lot of people struggle with because you might consciously want to have blind faith, but then subconsciously your brain is like, I need to see evidence in order to like fully believe. And that's okay. I've been there. Life has really been teaching me a lot lately within this past year on how exactly to have blind faith with zero evidence that it's going to work out in your favor and how to chop away the worry that comes up. And so that's exactly what we're going to be talking about today. The vibration of worry and how worrying is actually harming your life more than it is benefiting your life. The science behind blind faith and how quantum physics shows that atoms will literally collapse into physical form dependent on your state of mind, how to physically, tangibly create results in your life through shifting your internal state so that you have that backed evidence. And then I'm going to be talking about the steps in which you can train your brain to step into this state of having blind faith, having that solid, grounded certainty in what it is that you desire. Because if you truly desire something, if you truly want something, it exists out there for you. God does not put a desire into your heart and just like dangle this carrot in front of your face and say like, oh, but you can't have it. When God places desires into your heart, it is because it exists for you. It is because it is meant for you. It is because there is a timeline that already exists in the quantum of limitless timelines where you are already experiencing that thing and your soul is yearning to now experience and jump onto that timeline and experience that thing. And so it is meant for you. And it's time to have blind fucking faith. If you're new here, my name is Sabrina and welcome to the Better You space. Here I teach creatives, dreamers, and entrepreneurs how to train their brains to turn their dreams into their real daily lives. If you want to revamp your identity, revamp your beliefs, thought, and emotional patterns, and change who you are on the inside so that you can get completely different results on the outside, go ahead and grab my new identity map. I'm selling it for only $27 at the moment, and it guides you to do just that. It has bonus practices inside. Or if you want to jump into the membership that has a new identity map in it, inside of the membership, I have all kinds of brain training such as sleep tracks, pre-recorded self-talk rampages, morning meditation, and an entire 4-week course that guides you step by step how to rewire your subconscious programming, change your energy, the vibration of which you are resonating so that you can transform your life and become a potent vibrational match to what it is that you want to attract. It also comes with a bomb tight-knit community. I always say you are who you surround yourself with. So if you want to be surrounded by amazing, good-hearted, ambitious people who live by the laws of the universe, I invite you to check out the membership. The links for those will be left in the description below. And let's talk about having some blind faith. Having blind faith is not naive. And it is in fact one of the most smart things that you can do for yourself is having blind faith in the outcomes that you desire the most. I think a lot of people are hesitant to having blind faith because they're worried of disappointing themselves, worried of letting themselves down. But what I'm getting at today, and you'll hear me talk more about this, but a big part of having blind faith is also having the detachment of it is also okay if it doesn't happen. I will also be okay if it doesn't happen. And I talk way more about this in the last video that I just released, How to Be Perfect, when I go into the art of allowing and surrendering to what life has to give you and offer you. But what I'm emphasizing in today's video is how the power of blind faith allows you to put your awareness and focus onto this new path. And it allows, by the science of quantum physics, the atoms around you materialize into the exact path or something greater of what you had faith in. Simply because that is what your awareness was on, your energy was on, your focus is on. Your state of mind allows you to perceive and experience this reality as there are infinite realities that exist and you chose that timeline. And so, what is the opposite of having blind faith? The opposite of having blind faith is being very worried. And sometimes, either consciously or subconsciously, we think that worrying somehow helps the problem. Worrying somehow will find a solution. If I worry more, that means I care more, right? If I worry more, that means I have more attention onto it. That means that something like has to happen, right? If I worry more, but that's not the case. What is the vibration of worry? What is the frequency of worry? I heard this saying on a podcast years ago, and it really stuck with me. And it was, worrying is sending prayers for bad things to happen. And it was at that point in time where I was like, damn, I need to stop worrying about things that are outside of my control, such as like family members who, or loved ones who may not be doing well, who may be physically ill, who may be struggling in some way. I was having a very hard time accepting and coping with a loved one who was not doing well, who was not doing okay. And I had all of this worry. I was consumed with all of this worry of like, just that, is this person going to be okay? All day, I would lose sleep over it. I'd be crying, boo-hooing over it, which is all valid. I have the right to experience whatever I'm experiencing. But when I heard that statement, I thought to myself, worrying actually is not doing this person any good. And it's not doing me any good. If anything, it's really dragging me down. I'm feeling like depressed thinking about this and worrying about this because of the perspective that I had on it. I was thinking from a small-minded place of, how the hell is this person going to get better? There's no solutions to this. This person's going to be suffering for the rest of their life. And especially being as someone who relates to being an empath, I feel people's energy. I was having a very difficult time not empathizing with this person. And so there was a lot of emotion going on here. But after thinking about what the vibration of worry actually is, of how it really is, what is your awareness on? What is your focus on when you're worrying? It's on bad things happening to that person, bad things potentially happening to you, worrying of something bad, potentially happening in the future. You are putting energy towards, you are unintentionally manifesting negative, bad things happening to you. And after that, I was like, damn, like, I don't want to put this energy towards that person. I don't want to put this energy towards myself. I don't have an option to worry. I cannot worry. The more I worry, the more bad juju I'm sending out to that person, to me, out into the universe, into the world. I don't want that. So when I no longer had the option to worry, the only other option was to have faith. And having faith in what? And now I really do not care what the past says of what is possible and what is not. Truly, 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 anything is possible in this world, in this universe. We are living in like a video game of life. We're living in like a dream of life. Literally anything can happen. And I want you to think of this in terms of the positivity that you can bring into your life, the incredible, amazing experiences that put you in absolute awe. I want you to think about this in terms of healing of the planet, healing of communities. And so if anything is possible, if any person can heal from any ailment, and I truly believe that is possible, if any person can get themselves out of any dark or difficult situation, then I have to have blind faith that my loved one will be okay and they'll find a way out. And if not, God forbid, this is for its highest good. And this is where the detachment comes in, because you can't get disappointed in yourself. You can't let yourself down if you're also completely okay with it not happening. And this is all about having trust in the process. And it is required. Trust in the process is also required in order to have blind faith. Because if you have that underlying feeling of, I feel like I'm going to get disappointed if it works out, that's not true blind faith. Your energy is still in fear. Your energy is not totally in faith. And it's actually the people who have the most like childlike perspective to life, who are quote unquote naive in those ways of having blind faith, believing in magic, believing that people are good. And they have this optimism about life where things really work out in their favor. And isn't it so interesting how the people who worry the most have the most quote unquote bad things happen to them? It's like two people can go on a adventure of, random example, but like hiking through the jungle at night. Some like person A is like, oh, this is exciting. It's going to be fun. They're like naive in that way. Person B is like, I'm so worried about tigers and lions and bears. And what if someone comes out and like hurts me or kidnaps me in the jungle? The other person is worried. And it's the person who's worried who ends up spraining their ankle, who ends up running out of water. They're so fearful. Their eyes, their awareness, their focus is pointing out everything that could potentially be danger to them, and they're attracting more of that to them versus the person who is like, I'm going to be completely okay. I have what I need. Even if they do not even have what they need, they will more often than not find a way to survive and get through it and get past it. Meanwhile, the other person is attracting all of this fear. Their body is literally vibrating at this energy of fear. They're going to decay so much quicker and not make it out of this adventure in the jungle. Meanwhile, person A just had the time of their life and now has this great ass story to tell. And so whatever you decide to be true about your life will be true. Whatever story you tell yourself about your life will be true. God is a yes man. The universe is a yes man. If you say this is not possible for me, God says, yep, it's not possible for you. If you say there is no absolute way that this person can get better, that I can achieve this thing, that I can get this job, go this place, be in a relationship with this person, the universe says, yep, you're right. You will not be able to see a path. You will not be able to see the way. But isn't it so interesting that when you have that blind faith and you're like, I don't know how the hell it's going to work out, but I know that if there's a will, there's a way. And I'm putting my stake into the ground and I'm making the decision, capital D, decision, that I'm going this way and that it's going to work out for me. And you can go 5 steps along that path, 10 steps along that path and not see any evidence. But you hold that certainty, you hold that blind ass faith, and all of a sudden you see a stepping stone that'll take you in that direction, that'll guide you to another stepping stone, that'll guide you to another stepping stone. And all of a sudden, the person that you were manifesting that people say didn't exist, that you were so crazy specific about, they show up at your doorstep. They're right there in front of you. And they knock everything off the list. And you're like, see, I told you this person, I had blind faith that I would meet this person, right? The man of my dreams, the woman of my dreams, who had all of these characteristic traits. I knew and I had blind faith, even though these other people would say all kinds of things that this man, wouldn't exist, doesn't exist, and that I'm waiting for nothing. When you decide that you want something in your life, God carves a path for you. God makes the way for you. He lights the candle in your lantern. He lights the fire in your lantern. And you are now able to see and put your awareness on the path that will get you there. And now and the numbers seem to vary depending on like which research article it comes from, but just get the gist. There are 11 million bits of information going on around you every single second of every single day. 11 million bits of information. And what does your brain pick up on out of the 11 million bits is roughly 50 to 120 bits of information. 50 to 120 bits of information out of the 40 million bits of information around you, meaning you are only seeing like 0.01 of the reality in which that actually is going on around you. And what your reticular activating system picks up on is dependent on what you already believe to be true, what you have a lot of emotion behind, and what you have seen before, what's been like repeated. And so if you are putting your energy towards, if you believe that there is no other path, that you cannot get what you want, or that it's going to be very difficult, or that there's a very small chance you might as well just not believe in it anyway because you don't want to be let down, your reticular activating system is going to pick up the bits of information that are relevant to that. And you are going to be shown a reality in which you do not see it in front of you. To go deeper with this, let's bring in quantum physics, baby. This is a topic that has made my head spin, but has also like really made me understand a lot about life itself. And so you know about atoms, right? Atoms that make up everything, material. When you look at anything through a microscope, all you see are a bunch of atoms. And researchers, when they began to do deeper studies on the behavior of these atoms, they were really all very confused and very like, what the fuck is this type of reaction? Because they noticed that the atoms behaved in very mysterious ways. it seemed when they would do experiments, and if you want to look deeper into this, it's called the split experiment, I believe, the two slit experiment, I believe, something along those lines, where they came to the realization that the atom, more specifically the electron in the atom, in two different places at the same time. And it gets even weirder. They found that when an awareness was present, an awareness, you can say this is a state of consciousness, a human mind, when there was that present, the electron, the atom would go and collapse into physical form wherever the awareness was. And so if the awareness was expecting or looking on the left side of the screen for the atom to appear the left side of the screen, the atom would appear on the left side of the screen. If the awareness was looking at the right side of the screen, the atom would appear on the right side of the screen. When there is no awareness at all, the atom would exist as pure wave function and then would only collapse into physical form once the awareness was present. And so bringing this concept into the macro of our reality, because these little atoms make up of everything. And obviously we don't see things in our lives just appearing and then disappearing. But the concept of this is that literally when I ignore like the flowers on my nightstand, if I just like turn my head, essentially they turn into wave function. And then the minute I'm aware of them, they're collapsed back into physical form, and I'm aware of the flower sitting on my nightstand. And I'm going to talk about very specific instant manifestations that I've experienced through this in just a moment. Also, I'm curious if anyone is watching has or is familiar with, I hope I don't mess up the name, but Schrodinger's cat. I know some people are. If you have heard of it already, let me know in the comments so I know who all my like quantum physics nerds are, because I see you. But essentially it was this thought experiment that this man had where there's this box with a like vial of poison and a hammer. And basically, oh, and a cat, that's important. There was also this like radioactive atom inside of this box. And if the radioactive atom decays, which it was like a 50-50 chance, then it would be picked up by the system. The hammer would break into the bottle of poison and the poison would kill the cat. So basically the experiment was you have a box of poison and there's a 50-50 chance that the cat in the box with the poison either comes out dead or alive. And the purpose of the experiment was to really show how the cat is simultaneously, before you open the box, you don't know if the cat is dead or alive, if the radioactive atom decayed or not, and hit that vial of poison until you open the box and you can see what's inside. So until you open the box and you put your awareness on that, what goes on in the box is just existing in pure wave function. And it only collapses into physical form of the dead cat or the alive cat when your awareness is put on it, dependent on the state of mind that you are in and what you are almost expecting to happen. You will see either one or the other. And I thought this was so interesting. And I began to realize how quickly we could really, honestly, at times manifest things out of thin air or manifest things very, very quickly by keeping that experiment in mind of how it exists purely as waveform until I put my awareness on it. So if you're a student getting straight A's in school, you don't know what grade you got on the test until you put your awareness on it. So you want to have blind fucking faith that you got that A. You want to have that certainty in your body of like, yes, I got like a 97. I got 100 even. I got 103 even. Whatever it is that you want to manifest, it exists out there. And even if you got a decent amount wrong on the test, maybe something happens along the way where you end up getting the 97%. And it's because the professor was like, oh, you know what? I decided to, what is it that teachers do? Like scale the grade of some of like the class's tests if everyone did poorly on it. You could manifest something like that. There are multiple, infinite number of ways for your manifestation to come to you. And this, in this example of passing the test, it doesn't need to be you studying really hard and getting every single thing right. The path could still come in different ways, such as the teacher ramping up all of the grades of the test. And so I used to experiment with this when it came to finding really good parking spots, especially when I lived in San Diego. I lived in San Diego for about a year-ish, year and a half-ish. And I still plan to go back. I'm visiting family in Virginia right now. But when I was living there and I would go to the gym, the gym parking lot would be so packed. Like I would literally have to park so long away in order to find a spot. And so I would, as I was pulling up to the gym parking lot, I would visualize someone pulling out, or I would visualize the empty parking spot that was near the front that was just for me, reserved just for me. And I would really like practice the energy of what it was like to have that blind faith of like, there may logically be a very tiny, small chance for a spot to be open at this time, at this day, in front of the gym. But I don't give a fuck about whatever logical is going on. I'm going to have blind faith that that parking spot is there for me. And as I would practice this vibration, I would get better and better at it. I would feel more and more detached from it. And being detached from it is such a huge key to being in resonance to that frequency. Because if you have that grip, I don't want to say that you won't manifest it because anything is possible. But if you want to really master that energy and get really good at it, it does require that detachment overall. And so many times, I would, in fact, manifest a beautiful spot that was right near the front where I could easily just pull in. And it was either like it was just there open for me, like cars were just driving past it, and I'm like, what the hell? Or somebody would be pulling out right as I'd be pulling in, and it would be perfect. And you can test this with different things too. Over this past New Year's, it was so funny. Right now I'm staying with my sister and my brother-in-law as I'm visiting family in Virginia, and they had people over for New Year's. And we're sitting and we're playing these game with dice. And one of the games that you were playing, it was like you have all these different kinds of dice, and some of them were like 6 faced. So it was like the highest number on the die was like 6. Some of them were like 12 faced or 15 faced, where the highest number of the die were 12 or 15. And so all these dice had different numbers to them. And it was like you roll all the dice at once, and whichever dice rolled at the highest number it could for that playing dice, for that playing piece, you would then like win those pieces and like set them aside and then keep rolling. And the goal is to get as many as high numbered dice as you could. And so I'm playing this and keeping this experiment in mind because this is now like intertwined with everything that I do. I'm holding the dice in my hand and I'm rubbing them together and I'm visualizing, just like the cat in the box, I'm visualizing the dice like rolling on. I would see like each individual dice and like them landing on the highest one that it could. And so I would do that. I would visualize it. I'd get into that energy and then I'd roll them out. And a shit ton of the dice would be on its highest number. And so I'd be like, like I have the certainty I'm fucking winning, bitches. And I would like put my dice to the side. And it was so funny because one of our friends was like, we've played a few rounds of this. And one of the friends was like, I'm not good at this game. I have the worst luck. And she would throw the dice and literally have like the worst luck. She would get like the lowest number. She would not get like barely any points. And then I would do it. I would be all intentional with it. I'd lay them out and then it'd be on the highest pieces. And it was funny because we went through a few rounds of that. And one of our friends called me out and was like, Sabrina, that's not fair. You're using your spiritual powers to like win at this game. And I just busted out laughing because I'm like, yes, but like, it's also science. Like it was just so fun to like master that energy and I do this to win at a lot of games. Even when I was like 19 and I was in my like party phase, and me and my best friend would like sneak into these parties and we'd play beer pong all night. We were like the beer pong champs. Me and my best friend Emily at the time would like literally clear everyone out of beer pong. We would like just beat everyone's asses. And I didn't realize that I was doing it at this time, but I would be throwing the beer pong ball and I would literally visualize the ball like bouncing off another cup and then going in, which would be 2 cups. I would visualize the ball like doing exactly what I wanted it to. And every time before I would shoot, I would stand in front of the table. I would have one eye closed. I'd be aiming. And as I was aiming, I'd be visualizing the ball to go exactly where I wanted it to. And it would more often than not. And because I was a little tipsy, I was a little drunk, I also didn't give a fuck. So there was my detachment. There was also another part of this dice game. We decided to play like a different dice game later in the night. And this game had like special dice for it. And it was like a dice that had either like 1 dot on one side or like, like the explosion emoji. It was like that on like another side, like that like spiky. This is very inappropriate. I hope I don't get flagged on YouTube for this, but the name of the game, or what we called it anyway, what they called it was Butthole. And it was like if you got like that like firework type looking piece on the die, then that was like the butthole, you like lose a coin. And whoever ends up at the end of the game with as many coins wins the game. And if you lose all the coins, then you're like out of the game. And one of the girls that were playing with us thought it would be so funny, like before somebody would roll the dice and like throw it out there. I think there were like 3 dice this game. This woman would yell out as a joke, right? She was drinking, it was a joke, but she would yell out like butthole as the person was rolling. And it was so funny because every single time that woman would yell out butthole to the other person who was rolling the dice, they would roll those exact pieces. I wish I knew like the exact name to it instead of calling it this, but that's what we were doing. That person would roll that exact piece and they would lose coins. And she just thought it was the funniest thing because she's just like calling it out. But I was like, girl, you are literally casting this on these people. You are literally putting the energy out there, affirming it. Now they're thinking about it because you're saying it, and they're like, you're physically manifesting this for them. I just thought it was so funny because it happened time after time after time after time, not 1 time, not 2 times, like 3 times, but it was like maybe 8 times, maybe 10 times that she would like just randomly outburst butthole to someone, and then they would end up rolling like the most of those pieces and lose all of their coins. And it's little things like that where it shows you how quantum physics affects your physical reality around you. And when we can take those micro instances and realize how it builds up and affects the macro of experiences around you, you can have blind fucking faith to whatever it is that you want. If you are broke as shit right now and in so much debt, but you want to manifest like being a millionaire, having a yacht, living on the water, like whatever it is that you want, have blind fucking faith and God will guide you to that path. When you have your awareness on something, when your decision is on something, your reticular activating system begins to point out the bits of information that are in alignment with that. Your energy, your frequency begins to attune to that. And what is frequency? Frequency is information. So now you are getting ideas, the information that is related to this frequency, to the path that gets there. Your intuition is going to start speaking to you and telling you the ways in which how to get there. You will be guided the stepping stones in which to get there. And if anything is fucking possible, why not wish for and have blind faith for everything it is that you desire? Why settle in any area of your life? Honestly, you don't have to settle in anything because God wants to give you, like the universe wants to give you everything and more that you could logically think of, because we have such limited thinking too. So it's like, even everything that you could think of, it's not even like God wants to give you even more than that. The universe wants to give you even more than that. And so when I say, when there is a will, there is a way, I mean it, baby. There is a will, there is a way. Do not give up hope. Do not lose faith on what it is that is inside of your heart. The messages, the desires in your heart, they won't ever go away. They won't ever shut up. The things that are meant for you will always live inside of your heart until you fulfill them. The things that are in your heart are meant for you. So what is it that's in your heart right now? What is a desire that other people may have told you is illogical? Oh my God, have I been told that so many times in the past? And now I'm so used to saying in my brain, F you, I'm gonna do whatever it is that I want. Obviously not out loud, majority of times or not. But what is it that society has deemed where it's unrealistic to go for that job interview, that position, to try to make that kind of money, to find a kind of partner that you want to in this day and age, right? There's all of these limiting beliefs, all of these fears, all of these doubts and worries that other people are portraying on you. Fuck that, block that out. Purify your vessel, like get that shit out of your head, because having blind faith is such a superpower. And if you were to ask me, okay, Sabrina, I get it. I know having blind faith, you can manifest these unbelievable things. And trust me, I have manifested unbelievable things by having blind faith. Relationships, opportunities, like I could go on about so many things. And you're like, Sabrina, I get this, but also I'm having a really hard time sitting into this blind faith. How can I get there? How can I get to that state? And to that, I'll say it's not going to be more often than not, it's not going to be a snap of the fingers, you're a person who naturally has worried about things in the past, and now all of a sudden after watching this video, you can be like, yes, I'm going to wake up and just automatically have 120% like blind faith in everything that I desire. It's going to most likely be a process of training your brain and your nervous system to get to that space. Because yes, anything is possible. Yes, you can embody this, but at the same time, for however long that you have been living, your body has been programmed and wired to be a certain way. Just like I said, with your reticular activating system, you have different neural pathways of thought processes that you have been exercising for however many years. You have different gears in your body that are going, that are flowing with the exact chemical balance of the hormones that you have been feeling as a habit for however many years. And so you have to train your internal state to get to this way. It's not going to be a logical understanding. It's going to be a visceral knowing of practicing the embodiment of it time and time again until it sticks. And so the first thing that I would say is practice this with one area of your life. Sometimes it can be easier to practice these kinds of manifestation things with areas of your life that are going well for you first, because you have a lot less resistance in it. The way that I would practice manifesting in general, within these past like 5 years, I would practice a lot of manifestation through relationships and men. Honestly, after I got my health in order and I did a bunch of inner work and like I was just like glowing from the inside out. I talk a lot about my transformation from that on the channel because it was so profound. But after that, it became very easy. I healed a lot of like my relationship blocks and I healed a lot of like pains and hurts from my past like partnerships. And it became very easy for me to manifest literally whatever man that I wanted. I don't say this with haha, like I could get whoever I want, but it was like a fun game for me, especially being a bartender at the time. I was in contact with so many different people. And so I could literally manifest, not that I would actually like go through with like meeting anybody up. It was just fun for me to like attract people to like give me their phone number or manifest someone like who would be sitting at a table on the other side of the restaurant to come up and like talk to me and ask me out. And I would say no because like also being able to get whoever you wanted, it made me extremely picky. And I was like, you know what, if I can't get whoever I want, I know exactly what I want and I don't want to settle until I have this. Now that man has come into my life and and I did not settle and I have the most, knock on wood, absolutely incredible, amazing partnership and man in my life. But as I would play with this manifestation, I started with an area of my life that I felt more confident in. As I would see someone who I was like, oh, like I want them to give me their phone number. I would draw my energy to them. I would visualize them looking at me. I would visualize them coming up to me. I would visualize them being like awestruck by my energy and then being nervous, writing their number on a napkin and then handing it to me or handing it to my coworker to hand it to me. And it was very, very easy for me to build that faith in myself and that trust in myself and that evidence of the manifestation. Then I got to carry it in other areas of my life, that like feeling and that practice, I got to carry it. And so experiment, have fun, and test this out. And I would say that blind faith, having that faith is a frequency. And so what is that frequency? And how does that feel like to you? How does that feel in your body to have blind faith that something is going to work out for you? To have that full body grounded certainty, you know without a shadow of a doubt that it is going to work out for you in your favor, while also having that pure detachment of like, even if God forbid it doesn't, I will be absolutely okay. What does that feel like to you? What does that feel like in your body? And that's what you want to practice on a daily basis. I want you to think of something that you want to gain more certainty around, that you want to have more blind faith around, whether it be your career, whether it be trusting that you'll make the amount of money that you want, whether it be a relationship that you have in your life, solving something with your health, with yourself, with your physical health, or with a loved one. And I want you to notice when you experience that worry and practice PRR. If you have not been introduced to PRR, you can watch my full video here where I go deeper into it, but this is a practice that I use for everyone. And it is when you notice that you're in a state that you do not want to be in, that you want to wire yourself out of, you pause. Pausing is like the golden rule of thumb. It allows you to break that neural pathway in half and stop the gears from turning in that negative way that you don't want it to turn. It's like putting a stick in the gears. So you pause, you regulate, if it really worried you and you're really in your head and you're starting to get like overwhelmed, how can you calm your body down to a baseline of feeling neutral, of just feeling okay? How can you get out of your head and into your body? Do you need to do some jumping jacks? Do you need to do some breath work? Do you need to journal and journal it out? Do you need to literally scream in a pillow or go on a jog outside? How can you regulate your nervous system back down? And then rewire. That's the second R. And that is the third step of PRR. Rewire. What is it? What is the state that you want to embody? What are the thoughts that you want to think? What are the emotions that you want to be having? What do you want to expect for yourself? As you go about your day and you notice yourself in that state of worry and you're like, fuck this, I don't want to worry about this. I want it to work out in my favor and I want to feel detached from it and I want to feel good about it. I want to have certainty in my desires. You practice that PRR. Do not get out of that practice. Literally drop whatever you're doing, put your phone down, step away from your computer, because your state is what matters most. The energy in which you take action out of, that is what everything else follows. So you want to keep your energy as a priority. And so drop what you're doing for 2 minutes, 5 minutes. Stop the worry, calm the system, get yourself out of your head, into your body, relaxing your body. Then practice that energy, that frequency of blind faith. And do not get out of that practice until you feel that faith within you, until you can let that blind faith, the frequency of that, grow in and around your body. Now you're embodying that state. Now you're emanating that state. And the stronger you can, the quicker you can stop the process, and the more emotion you have behind the embodiment part, behind the rewiring part, the more you really sit and linger in that state, the more powerful you're going to make these shifts. If you try to change your state, and if you're feeling worry and you want to get to a state of blind faith and you're feeling worry and you're like, okay, I'm going to stop worrying. And then I'm going to just try to immediately say a few affirmations and then I'm going to get back to my work. And then I'm going to like keep doing of whatever I'm doing. You are not successfully rewiring your brain or changing your state, because most of that worry is still there. You didn't even regulate your system. You just stopped, huffed and puffed, said a couple affirmations, and then kept going. This is a very intentional practice and inner work, internal work. Just like you go out to the gym and work out your body, you want to like train your brain. And this is a way of living. These are like habits that you just get in the habit of. It doesn't feel like any extra work when you get in the habit of it. And once you are in the habit of retraining your brain in this way, it just feels so natural and normal for you to constantly be wiring your focus to where it is that you want to go in life. And the better you get at this, the more blind faith that you can have. You can have certain written affirmations out that really resonate with you and put them on the mirror of your bathroom. That's my personal favorite place to put affirmations, to remind myself of who I'm showing up as every day. There's also this song, oh my God, I have to link it below, where a few months ago, I was in a very, very trying part of my life that was really, really requiring me to have a lot of blind faith in multiple areas of my life. Shit where like, if I don't have blind faith, like shit's gonna hit the fan. Like I need to be certain and embody the energy that things are going to work out and things will be okay. And in that time of my life, one of my best friends, Raheli, sent me this song, and I want to link it below. It's like this gospel song. And if you know me, I'm not religious at all. I'm very spiritual, but something about it like so resonated with me and literally brought me to tears. And I think songs and media, I know I talk about how it can be very harmful to watch negative media or media that portrays negative subliminal messaging, but also media is a double-edged sword and songs are a double-edged sword. It can also portray so much positivity and really build you up in so many ways. And I think surrounding yourself with media and songs that can lift you up can be very, very powerful. So I want to link this song below because it was all about having blind faith, letting God like carve the path in front of you, knowing that like people can be healed from sickness, people can be healed from bankruptcy, people can be living a completely different life through having that faith. And I listened to it so many times in that very trying period of my life. And every single time it would just bring like waterfalls to my eyes. I would just be like bawling my eyes out of like, oh my God, like, yes. Like, I feel the faith. Like I'm holding on to the string of blind faith that I have. And I'm like putting my energy onto like this string of blind faith that I have in front of me, that I can choose to have, that I can make the decision that I'm choosing to have this blind faith, even though everything else is saying that it's not possible. Everything else is saying that there is no logical way for it to work out. And also the duality of this. I want to say that if doubt does exist in your brain, it does not mean that it will not work out. You can simultaneously have doubt and still choose to have faith. It's just whatever you have more energy behind. And if the doubt is really overwhelming and you're really, really trying to have faith and you feel like you physically cannot, pray about it. Literally, that connection to the divine, to what orchestrates everything around you, is a very powerful force. And I know I mentioned this in my last video, but the more you create a genuine relationship with the divine energy that does orchestrate everything around you, the more things do work out in your favor. And prayer is very powerful. There's been a lot of studies and research done behind the power of prayer. So prayer can be very, very powerful. Do not underestimate the power of prayer. And when you're in those desperate states of like, holy shit, this is really fucking hard for me, lean on the divine, trust in the divine, and have that prayer and pray your ass off. You will resonate at more of a vibration of trust that will lean you more into the energy that you desire. And then God will come in. The angels will be singing. The clouds will part. Some kind of divine orchestration will be made to assist you in whatever it is that you're experiencing. And so that is all that I have to say for this video. I really hope that you resonated with what I had to share today. I'd love to know what resonated with you the most. I'd love to know what topics you want to hear more about as well. Feel free to leave that in the comment section. If you made it to this point, leave the angel wing emoji in the comment section below, because we're in that energy right now. Miracles happen every fucking day. If you want to transform your life from the inside out, get my new identity map for only 27 bucks. Or if you want to make the decision to be on this lifelong journey, go ahead and jump into the Better Your Mind membership, where again, you have the bomb ass community, you have the brain trainings that you can listen to every single day, the course that guides you through A to Z, how to get there, how to make all of the inner transformations needed, because there's a few things that you want to keep in mind. And it comes with a new identity map included inside of it. I'll leave the links for those in the description below. Give this video a thumbs up to help out the channel, subscribe and hit the bell button to be notified every time I post a new one, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you for being here. I love you. I'll talk soon.